Hey cats, what's happening? You know, as the saying goes, when the going gets tough, the tougher get going. That's about where I'm at right now. You guys that have been watching this channel for a while know that we have had 7 cats. Good cats, all indoor cats, all vetted, taken well care of, fed grain-free foods, and taking care of all their needs, all their medical issues, and given all the comforts that a cat could possibly want. Now, we never chose to have 7 cats. It just kind of was one of those things that happened. I don't even know how. It's a long, difficult story, but we gave them a good life. But more recently, our Persian, Capone, had been suffering quite a few issues. He was really having problems using the litter box, and a lot of times we were finding blood. And on his last day, he was peeing a lot of blood. We took him to the vet, and everybody agreed at that point that it was time to put the little guy down. And that happened. Monday was a very sad day. Now, one of our fur babies. Nobody likes to lose a fur baby, you know. I mean, they're like your children in a way. Well, we've had them for, I think Capone was over 16 years old, so he's been around for a while. And if you would ever come over to our house to visit, I guarantee you, he would be the first one to greet you at the door. And he was the most social, friendly cat you could ever imagine. In fact, if you were to sit down to chat with me, he wouldn't leave you alone for a minute. He was all full of cat kisses, you know, licks. And I don't know if you've ever been kissed by a cat before, but their tongue is like sandpaper, and it's pretty gross. But we lost Capone, so that was a sad, sad day. And to make things even more complicated, my poor wife ended up in the hospital last week with pneumonia. She was having a lot of pain and discomfort. She was having problems sleeping because of the pain in her ribs and her chest, and she didn't know what was causing it. We went to a scheduled doctor's appointment, and the oncologist at that point said, "You got to go down to the emergency room because you got something else going on." They suspected she might have the flu, but as it turned out, when they did all the tests, they said, "Girl, you got pneumonia," which is pretty serious. And she was in a lot of pain and misery. So she was in the hospital. They put her on some morphine along with antibiotics and other drugs, which made her even sicker. I finally got to bring her home this week, but she has been still in pain. And they tell us now it could be 6 weeks before she is completely healed of this pneumonia. So it's going to be a big battle for her. She's got a lot of loss of stamina and strength, so she needs a lot of downtime. And it's given me a pretty heavy burden, so I have picked up the slack trying to take care of her. I had to bury the kitty up on the hill. You saw the grave. I made him a little gravestone. I have pieces of this flat stone over in the woods, so I went over there and dragged out a chunk, brought it over here in the man cave, and I took my grinder and just kind of carved his name in there, like I've done with all the pets up on the pet cemetery hill. As you see, it's pouring down rain today, so there really hasn't been any chances to take a relaxing, enjoying, stress-free motorcycle ride. That's not going to happen. We were actually supposed to be camping this week. Well, I shouldn't say supposed to be. We had planned to go camping this week, but there's just no way that that can happen with everything that's gone on. And this closes the window for camping season. Of course, you can camp all winter if you want, but winter camping is really not our deal. So I'm going to have to winterize the Hemi here, put it away for the winter. Another big job. I don't know how many of you have reached the ripe age of 65. I turned 65 here the end of November, which I think today's the last day of October. So that being said, as far as my health care is concerned, I had to register for Medicare. I don't know how many of you have had to register for Medicare, but for me it was a real pain in the neck. They recommended that I begin the process back in July, which I did. But being that I worked for a public employer, they had in Ohio we have our own retirement system. So I was part of the Ohio Public Employees Retirement System, spending my entire career working for the Park District. So that didn't give me any Social Security benefit whatsoever. I think I only had maybe 14 points in Social Security from working some odd jobs. But I think you need somewhere around 40 points to qualify for Medicare through Social Security. It's a very twisted, complicated thing, and unfortunately I was caught to deal with it. It was no fun at all. I went around and around. Well, you'll have to make a telephone appointment and talk to our Social Security representative, which I did. And I went through like a 20-minute interview with them. Then, okay, well, we're going to send you some mailings and you'll have to fill that out and return that back to us. Well, the mailings never came, and then I had to call again. Okay, well, we'll resend those mailings, which they did. I filled out and turned them back. I ended up having to go back and forth between Social Security and Medicare to try and figure out what I had to do, and inevitably had to go back to my employees' retirement system and talk to them, and they were very helpful too. So I have received so much mailings and forms and literature. It's just been mind-boggling. I don't know how, some people can even deal with it because it's so confusing and complicated. This week, though, I had to get back on the phone to get my supplemental insurance, which you have to have as a part of Medicare. And I was on the phone with that representative for an hour and a half. I'm not kidding. And she talked so fast, and it was a lot of that technical stuff, just rambling on. Blah, 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 blah. I don't know how anybody could follow that. And do you agree to this? Do you agree to that? And do you want this? And do you want that? And we have this plan available. Yeah, whatever. It just gets to the point where you're not even making a rational decision. Maybe later there'll be time to reflect and review everything that I agreed on, and hopefully I made the right choices. But I think at this point, finally, the beginning of November, I'm ready to go with my Medicare health care. So that was a huge, very stressful hassle added to everything else. My brother came to visit this week from Lone Pine, California, And I was able to spend time with him even amidst everything else that was going on, so I did have some time to enjoy. But I missed having V with me to do that because her and I are always a team. We do everything together, so it's very hard when she's ill and not feeling well and has to lay down and rest. So on top of all of that stuff, my mom lives, oh, I don't know, about 7, 8 miles away, elderly. I think she's 87. She lives by herself. So I've been running over there on and off trying to take care of her needs, bringing her food and stuff like that. It's been a whirlwind. I mean, this coming week, we've got 3 appointments for V that we have to attend to, and it's just been go 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 nonstop. It's been really rough. So as far as my breaking point, I haven't reached it yet, and I hope I don't. But it pushes me right up to the limit of what I can endure. Seeing my wife in the hospital, having to take care of my mom, having to dig a hole up there on the hill was no easy task. That clay was some hard digging, and you want to get it deep enough so the coyotes don't dig them up too. So big chore there, but all that's behind us now. I think we're over the deepest grief of that, but we still miss the little guy in our heart. V's got a long road to recovery. I'm going to stick by your side. We're going to button down here for winter. I do have some wood that I hauled, so we're set for building fires and keeping the house warm. It never ends, though. It just never ends. I don't know. Is there a real freedom to life where you don't have these burdens, or is this the way life is? You just get handed one thing after the other to test your strength, to test your stamina, to see how tough you really are. Oh boy. Well, I thank you guys so much for your support. Just the comments and stuff, the loving comments and the prayers are really important to us. That's awesome, incredibly awesome to me, and we really, really, really appreciate every one of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Like the video, share it with your friends. If you haven't yet, please subscribe, and I'll keep you posted, updated, and I'll entertain you with some more stories and good videos. And I'm staying strong. Pray for me too, though. Thank you. Till next time, guys.